Good morning, and Happy New Year. It is the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast, and it is our Week 1 NFL prediction show. Football is back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are giving you a detailed analysis of the games that you need to know about. And we'll give you even analysis about the games that nobody cares about, because that's what we do here. With me on this glorious morning, Mr. Mike Zappy, San Antonio, Texas. Mr. Idris Salam, North Carolina, and I am your host, Richie. To take it back to last season, Kansas City Chiefs are your defending Super Bowl champions. And the way the NFL works is if you win the Super Bowl, you get to open on the first Thursday night. Unless if it's the 100-year anniversary, then they're going to give you the Bears and the Packers.
Right.
But the Kansas City Chiefs will be dropping their banner on Thursday Night Football, which has become the newer tradition in today's NFL. And we have some news out of Kansas City ahead of this game, Zappy, if you want to fill in some of our viewers. We did mention it a little bit yesterday as well.
Well, I mean, we have a couple things. First of all, the Chiefs really dodged the bullet there with Travis Kelce and the hyperextension of his knee. His ACL was still intact, so that's good news. As of right now, we do not know if he's going to be playing or not. They are going to see how his knee responds today during walkthroughs. But if you ask me for my opinion, I would say sit him. But I'm going to tell you the significance behind what happens if he doesn't play. And then as far as Chris Jones goes, there is no movement whatsoever with him and Nick Bosa, as a matter of fact. So I think it's safe to say that the Kansas City Chiefs will be without two critical pieces of one on their offense, one on their defense, and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones.
And Chris Jones, big loss to not have that guy suit up.
Yeah.
What I look at with a bigger loss with Kelce is the last 3 years for the Kansas City Chiefs on their opening day games, Kelce has been targeted 22 times and has accounted for 20 receptions as well as 4 touchdowns and over 200 yards receiving. That's a big loss if he's not there to be that safety net that he has grown to be for a Patrick Mahomes. And then we look at a guy like a Noah Gray. Will he be able to come in and kind of help alleviate some of the loss of Kelce not being there? And it's going to clearly open the door up for guys like Rashee Rice, Justin Watson, Sky Moore. And we'll see what Tony can do for this offense. So,
yeah, shout out Gary Teeter, Giant superfan. He's rocking with us this morning. We went to Jacksonville with him last year, had a great time. A lot of people at the tailgate thought Mike Lennon was hanging out with us. They realized it really wasn't him. Football is back, Gary. I am excited, and I know that I'll be speaking to you in the near future, possibly about a few future tailgates. Without further ado, let's hit Week 1, man. Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs. Thursday Night Football, banner dropping in Arrowhead. As the Chiefs look to repeat as Super Bowl champions, something that is not common. It is very hard to do this. Zappy just alluded to this. Travis Kelce may not be available. Chris Jones is still holding out. We'll talk a little bit about the other guys, the Lions, Dan Campbell's team. They finished 2022 very strong, knocking out the Green Bay Packers at legendary Lambeau Field after Green Bay got hot at the end of the year, gave themselves a chance to be that last wild card. Detroit said not so fast. And I think it says a lot about the team's morale going into this season, because when you get eliminated by another game that affects you, and the fact that you still get up and treat that final game with the importance that the Detroit Lions did, I think it was a strong building block for this year. I mean, you know, Jared Goff, he's been recycled, reshipped, and reloaded. He's playing very well. Jahmyr Gibbs, the rookie, gives them a lot of excitement. And I'll tell you what, man, that 1-2 of David Montgomery, the pass catcher, along with Jahmyr Gibbs, I like it. Amon-Ra St. Brown, if he's not in the top 10 yet, he is definitely on his way. And I still think they got a little more work to do on defense. I think Aiden Hutchinson has everything that he needs to be a superstar in this league, but it all has to come together. The defense, particularly the secondary, in my opinion, is still Detroit's weak link, but they are trending north. You know, they are getting better. And anyone who has seen the show yesterday or has seen my post recently, I am picking this Detroit team to win an NFC North that has a lot of change up over there. As the game goes, no, I don't think Kelsey's going to play. Yes, I do think Mahomes is going to struggle missing some targets in the first half. I will go as far as saying that not having Kelsey on the field will affect this offense more so than last year when they lost Tyreek Hill. Having said all that, I still think that Patrick Mahomes will put on the Superman cape and do what he has to do to drive his team to victory in the second half. But I expect a spirited performance from the Detroit Lions. I'm going Kansas City 26, Detroit 24. I think this is going to be a very close game. I got Harrison Butker kicking the Chiefs to victory late, similar to how he kicked them to victory in last year's Super Bowl. But I think the Detroit Lions, even in defeat, this is going to be a nice building block for them moving forward.
Okay, Zappy.
I'm excited about this Detroit team. You know, we look at them last year. They started off the season 1-6. Were pretty much in every game with the exception of New England and Dallas. We know about the game last year, how they opened the season against Philadelphia, losing a very close game, 38-35. And that was more because of a very bad defensive team at the time. Fast forward to today, I am expecting this Detroit Lions defense to be a much better defense. I'm expecting Jared Goff to get the season off on a high note and what could be an MVP type season for him with that offense and all the toys he has, which includes the newly drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. Kansas City, yes, it is the banner night, but when you are missing the likes of a Travis Kelce and the likes of a Chris Jones, I think that's too much to put on this team, even though you have Patrick Mahomes. This to me is a more important game for Detroit than it is Kansas City. No matter what happens, Kansas City is going to be there at the end of the year. Where Detroit needs this more is the way I see it. I have Detroit winning a very close game, a very high-scoring game with a game-winning field goal by Patterson. I have it a very similar type to last year, 38-35, but this time they come out on top instead of losing.
Before we pass it to Idris, I wanted to make a mention of, you talk about kickers. In my two kicker, two defense, two quarterback, two tight end league, you know that you were in that league one year. I actually drafted Butker as well as Patterson. So basically, for me, just root for the kickers. I also have Patrick Mahomes playing.
See, that's the beauty. I have in our league, I've got Patty Mahomes, and now with no Kelsey there, that kind of hurts me, but I still think he'll get his 3 touchdowns, 350 yards passing. It's just I've got to see the Chiefs defense. I got to see how they respond to when you don't have the guy that can't get pressure on the quarterback. That tends to affect your secondary more than anything else. So,
yes,
you know,
it gives those receivers on Detroit more time to complete their routes and keep guys on their heels. I do agree with that, Zap. Idris, how do you feel about this, man? You think Zappy's on to something? Lions going to pull off an upset here?
I'm going to get to that. I think losing Kelsey is going to be major because I see Kelsey and Mahomes like Brady and Gronk. You know, Brady knew what Gronk was going to be.
For sure.
You know? Yeah, and with Kelsey and Mahomes, it's the same way. You know, Mahomes knows where Kelsey's going to be. Kelsey knows where the ball is coming. And when you don't have that security, it can throw things off. Now, this is not to take anything away from Mahomes, because Mahomes can dish the ball anyway. He's like a point guard. You know, he's just like Chris Paul. The ball's going to be there.
Sure.
We just need to be there.
Sure.
So, but on defense, Chris Jones taking 15 sacks today from a defense. That's a lot of sacks. And where's the pressure going to come from? Because when you have him on one side, it helps the other side get around. But now that
it puts a lot of pressure.
They might exploit Detroit might exploit that. Jared Goff, I'm happy for the kid because he went from Super Bowl to basically almost out of the league, and now he's back. St. Brown, Gibbs, the secondary is a little shaky. I think they did good, but I think they got it like ways to go. I want to pick Detroit, man, but in Arrowhead.
Yeah, it's that's the biggest tough sell for me, even though and I get it. If you're gonna get them when they're wounded. You know, a couple other Lions on offense that I want to mention. Rookie Sam Laporta, I think is going to be good. You're going with Detroit. Okay, I'm the only guy picking the world champs.
I'm going 35-31 Detroit. Upset. Shootout.
And
I think they're going to exploit that style. Yeah.
And the other thing I look at is not only do you not have Chris Jones there, but Frank Clark's not back with this team.
Frank Clark's right.
This is and when you don't have Chris Jones there, that's going to affect second-year player George Karlaftis, where now the protection rolls over to him, and it's like, all right, let somebody else beat us. And the Chiefs don't necessarily have that on their defensive line right now.
I kind of hear both your points. I don't have this game being as high scoring as both of you, and I think part of the reason is because whether the Detroit wins or whether Detroit loses, I think Detroit's strategy is going to be to try to shorten the game, to try to have longer drives. I still think the Chiefs are more than capable to get tough inside the 20s, hold this team to a few more field goals. But I do want to say this about this Detroit offense, two other players that not necessarily got mentioned here, but I'll mention them now. I low-key like bringing back Marvin Jones. I think he's very good for that locker room. And the rookie Sam Laporta, and the rookie Sam Laporta is going to be a pretty good player. Maybe not right out of the gates, but when you look a couple of years from now, he's going to be one of the better tight ends in the league because the old guard guys of Kelsey, Andrews, Kittle, Waller, Goddard, they're still going to be relevant. But everybody gets a year older every time they run this back. So 2 out of 3 of us are predicting the Detroit Lions to ruin Banner Night. And that is a great segue for the other team.
That's another reason.
That's a great segue.
Banner Night, that's where people usually choke.
Speaking of choking, the Philadelphia Eagles are trying to get back to the Super Bowl. Patriots bring in Super Bowl winner Juju Smith-Schuster. He was vital in that win. Yeah, damn right. Teams are 1-1 in Super Bowls head-to-head. The Patriots will honor the legendary Tom Brady before the game. Well, we talked about the Lions ruining Banner Night. Can the Patriots hold the fort and protect not ruining Tom Brady night? It makes sense to a level that it would be the Eagles. They did have 2 classic Super Bowl clashes. In my opinion, I think Tom Brady's best Super Bowl was against the Eagles, even though the Patriots lost the game. I'm going to say this. I think that New England crowd is going to be on a different kind of level with the excitement of Tom coming back and not as an opponent, because he did come back as a member of the Buccaneers. And it was a rainy, crappy night, too, which to a level might have stung the crowd a little. On paper, do I really have to get into this that deeply? The Philadelphia Eagles are supposed to beat this team 8 or 9 out of 10 times. They have arguably the best wide receiver duo. They have the better offensive line. They have the more athletic quarterback with the bigger arm. They have a stable of running backs that all are capable of doing things. And their defense, while I think I will question if they're going to be as dominant as last year, they're still good. Having said all that, cool. I think the New England Patriots are going to rise to the occasion, and they're actually going to pull off a massive upset to get their season off started the right way. And they are going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles at home. And I'm going Patriots 27, Eagles 24, spirited effort from the Patriots. And I do think that one of those scores is going to come on a pick six. The Patriots have been very good at inducing interceptions. Patriots still have a very good defense. And I also think that don't be surprised if you get a touchdown vulture off of Zeke Elliott in his first game as a New England Patriot. I could see the Eagles playing sloppy. A couple of things could go wrong here. And while I don't think that's necessarily going to be a reflection on where these two teams end up, because I still strongly hold New England as the last place team in the East, and I have Philly making the playoffs as a solid 5 seed with potential to make the Super Bowl even if they don't win the East. On this particular night, Tom Brady night, New England Patriots going to show up. The New England Patriots going to do it.
I echo that. I think Zeke is going to have a good game. I think he's going to have a good season because New England runs the type of offense that they run 2 tight end sets, and that's going to help Zeke. I think Philly, as we spoke in other shows, they lost a lot, and they did replace a good amount, but they lost a lot still, and they have.
I just don't think they're that dynamic. I don't think they're as dynamic on defense. That's my opinion. James Bradbury's a year older.
Yeah, and he got torched a lot last year.
Darius Slay's good. He's good. Don't get me wrong.
A lot too last year. They both got.
Can any other cornerback in the NFL over the last 2 years say they gave up a touchdown to Kenny Golladay? Darius Slay could say that. Sorry. But for real,
yeah, exactly. exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why I feel.
That dude has scored more touchdowns in Madden Online than he has in real life. 2 years of taking money. That dude scored 1 touchdown in a bona fide practice squad session with Davis Webb making his first and only NFL start before retiring and going into the coaching ranks.
Exactly.
He did throw out. He did throw down a great block in Minnesota. So go way to go.
Yeah,
we paid for that.
Yeah. He did. He had 2 good plays. And you're honoring Tom Brady, and it's been rough for Belichick as a coach since he left. But Belichick, he's still a defensive coach, and I just think they're going to pull it off, man. I'm going 27-21. 27-24. I mean, Patriots. And my niece Lorraine is going to be glad I said that.
Mr. Aaron Morton is probably watching this shit. He's like, I'm never coming on this show again.
Yeah, he's going to hit me up and be like, "Don't ever hit me up again."
Yeah, don't you ever. Mike Zappy, your thoughts on Eagles Patriots?
This game has trap game written all over it, and it's only week 1. It's got trap game written all over it. But this game also features Mac Jones. And
not from Swishahouse. This is Mac Jones, the quarterback.
The quarterback, the one out of Alabama. I'm trying to look at this. I mean, obviously, this is going to be a defensive struggle, is the way I look at this game. We have one team that's coming off a Super Bowl loss. Will the Super Bowl hangover be a real thing for the Philadelphia Eagles? I tend to think so, but not to an extent where they're going to miss the playoffs. And then I look at this New England Patriots team. They are a team still trying to figure out their identity. Are they going to be a running team? Or are they going to be a passing team? We know what they're going to bring defensively. Their Achilles last year defensively was their secondary. They go address it by drafting Christian Gonzalez in the first round.
That was a damn good pick.
It was a great pick. I think the Patriots are going to have to get after Jalen Hurts early and often. They're going to have to.
They're going to have to knock him down about 7-8 times and sack him about 3 or 4.
Yeah. They got to go pass rush, though.
And I still find it interesting that the Eagles are only suiting up for wide receivers. I don't like that. I know you're bringing it's not, and I know you're bringing a levy of running backs from. I think they're bringing 6 running backs to the game. I might be wrong. Look, it's Tom Brady night or Tom Brady day. Tom Brady's return. If Mac Jones, if this New England Patriots team cannot get hyped up about the quarterback that brought you multiple championships over a span of 20 years, I mean, arguably the greatest 20-year run by by any team in any sport, then you don't deserve to be playing on Sundays. That's the way I look at it. Right. I'm going to take this New England Patriots team with an upset because the Eagles, for some reason, while they do play well week 1, it's their defense that bothers me week 1. And it's
look at last year, bro. I made an overreaction and dropped their defense after the Lions lit them up in a shootout. The Eagles won the game, but there was causes for concern. Might be shocking here, but we all pick the New England Patriots.
And it's not because I don't like the Eagles. I don't have a homer hat on. It's just I'm looking at all the elements to this game.
Right.
Should the Eagles win? Yes. Are they the better team? Absolutely. They should win. But when you tie in the Super Bowl loss to a Tom Brady ceremony, it almost feels surreal that the Patriots will come
Not to mention that you're going to be looking at the player who induced the flag that lost you the Super Bowl, that being Juju Smith-Schuster. There is a little something to that as well. Panthers and Falcons in the ATL. I'll tell you what. This is cool. You got two rookies starting their careers, Bryce Young, Bijan Robinson. Both teams could be sporting better defenses. But when I look at both rosters, short and sweet, I believe that the Falcons have a better one. I think Kyle Pitts could be a candidate for a breakout player. We've been waiting for it. I think a guy like a Bijan Robinson, a guy like a Drake London, they have a young core that's going to work well together. But ultimately, I think when you think about what they have at receivers, and I think they're going to deploy Cordarrelle Patterson a little more as a receiver this year, being that it seems like they do have things figured with their first two running backs. Having said all that, the beauty of running great routes and stretching out the field is that it softens up the middle of the defense and you can run the ball. And I think that's something that the Atlanta Falcons are going to do very well this year. Short and sweet, I got the Atlanta Falcons winning this thing 27-13. I think they are going to possibly give up an early response touchdown to the Carolina offense. Bryce Young coming out of the gates feeling good. But I think Bryce Young is going to get hit a lot in this game. And I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to hold serve at home and say, hey, guys, this division's wide open, and we're more than interested in taking it over. I like the Falcons by 2 scores.
Idris.
I agree. London deep across the middle. Bijan Robinson up the middle. Bang, bang. 28.
I like what they got
16.
right now.
Yeah,
Desmond Ritter, I'm not all the way sold on. But I think when you have
I am.
some
you know
of
why?
these
Because
guys,
him and London got a rapport. I like Desmond Ritter. I think he just needs to be in that offense. Because last year they ran Mariota and Ritter. I think let this man run the offense. I think he's their quarterback.
Mariota made a lot of mistakes last year, but Atlanta seemed to be in damn near every game they played. So if I'm an Atlanta fan, that's got to be encouraging. Got to be encouraging. Yeah. Zappy, your thoughts?
It's the defense that gave it up a lot. But yeah, 27-16.
How does Carolina slow down Bijan Robinson and Tyler Aguilar? That's what I base this game on.
I don't think they have the answer.
They don't have the answer. I like Drake London. Kyle Pitts needs to explode, but I need to see someone with speed in the receiving lineup for the Falcons. Mac Hollins is not your speed guy. So no, they're definitely going to be running the ball. I look for Bijan to jump on to the scene early and often. I look for a big day out of him, 125 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, 4 receptions, 50 yards receiving type of game. I look for Tyler Aguilar to add on another 65 to 75 yards rushing. I think this Atlanta team is going to rush for over 200 yards and control the clock. They're not going to put up points by touchdowns. I think they're going to put up points by field goals. And as far as Carolina goes, you've got Bryce Young starting. Yes, you did bring in Miles Sanders. You brought in Adam Thielen, DJ Shark, but it's not enough. This Carolina team is building. They'll be competitive in the first half, but ultimately I think it's going to be a final score along the lines of 22-13, 23-13, Atlanta winning.
Yeah, I think it's a comfortable win for Atlanta, and I think Atlanta is going to show that they are, like I like what Shed said here, and I think he makes a solid point. They'll run first, they're going to ground and pound, and I think they're going to try to impose their will on most opponents until they're proven that they got to go elsewhere. And if Idris is right about Ritter, they're going to be surprisingly pretty good this year. Falcons for the win, and historically, they always split these two teams anyway.
That's what I said with London. I don't think London will catch 7, 8, 9 passes, but I think him going out there, I think that's going to open up Bijan and just pound, ground and pound. I think they're going to help. They'll be more like Detroit. Yeah,
Pitts could be the
yeah.
home run threat on the receiving realm if he has truly arrived. I've been waiting for it. I still think it's more than
he's got to show up.
capable.
He's got to show
Yeah,
up.
he's more than capable of doing it. This could be the best game of the week, potentially. We've got the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. These 49ers were so close to the Super Bowl last year, just snake bit at the quarterback position. Second-year man, Brock Purdy. You got all-world running back Christian McCaffrey to go with a nice little duo of Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. George Kittle, old reliable, continuing to play at a high level. He really found the end zone early and often last year. It's going to be a raucous crowd. This is going to be a very tough game for the 49ers to win when you consider that the Bosa thing is still not settled. That is huge. D'Amico Ryans is no longer their DC. It's going to be a very emotional Pittsburgh crowd. But one thing that I do have faith with the Niners on is the play calling. I do believe that one way or another, the Niners will find a way to sneak this game out late. And I've honestly got this probably like a 1.2 point victory for the Niners. I can see the Niners trailing late in the fourth and engineering a late touchdown drive that puts it over. If this game was played maybe, say, week 8, week 10, maybe I would take Pittsburgh at home because I think Pittsburgh is going to gradually get better. I don't necessarily think they're going to be there right now. I know that Zappy is very high on Kenny Pickett, and he actually picked these Steelers to go to the Super Bowl. Oddly enough, I got the 49ers going to the Super Bowl in the NFC. I'm taking what I trust to be a 49er team that has been very close and is very hungry. And even without the ideal start scenario, with some of the issues they got going on and some weaknesses on one particular side of that offensive line, I think the San Francisco 49ers go into Pittsburgh and win a hard-fought game, 24-23, last-minute touchdown to put it away.
Where's that?
Nick, as of right now, Nick Bosa is not playing. It's not injury-related. Until we hear breaking news that him and the 49ers have come to an agreement, I'm approaching this like he will not be suiting up. That's a big loss. Colton McKivitz, let me introduce you to TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith because they are going to beat up his ass that entire game. It is something that Shed alluded to when we were doing our NFC West preview. I think that's going to be the Achilles heel, and not to mention George Kittle may not be playing this weekend either. And if you take away that, you take away the guy that's going to line up to chip TJ Watt. No, I've got Pittsburgh winning this game. I've got Pittsburgh arriving and laying down the hammer and saying, we're here. Just the way Deion Sanders gave that speech to Colorado before the game. This is kind of how I see Pittsburgh. Everyone is sleeping on this team. It's 50-50 with this team, actually. Either you like them and think they're going to make a deep run, or you don't like them. That's the way the Pittsburgh Steelers are viewed this year. There's no in between. San Francisco, you throw those things with the right tackle, as well as not having Bosa, not having Kittle, and now Brock Purdy has got to face Watt and Highsmith with a weak right tackle. That does not bode well for success. I think Pittsburgh comes out on top on this one, and it's going to be a close one. I'm going to go with a 23-20 type game. Pittsburgh on top.
This is my thing, Zap, before I pass it to Idris. Sorry, Idris, go ahead.
No,
go ahead. You're good. I'll hold off a second. What I'm saying is, you got a 3-point victory. Zap, you got a 3-point victory. Kittle's going to play, I'll be honest. He'll play. He'll play. No Bosa, yeah. But only a 3-point victory with no Bosa, a banged-up Kittle. I'm not going to really argue that hard about in week 1 who the better team is. Week 1. They're not playing. This isn't a game being played in January or February. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's all I got. I just I think we got some of these upsets out of the way and some of these flat feelings from the elite from last year. Kenny Pickett has to prove it to me. And I understand Bosa is a great player, but the 49ers still have a very good defense. And they have won games without this guy in the past.
I see San Francisco similar to Kansas City. If Kittle doesn't play and Bosa's not going to play, I see it the same way. And you have Brock Purdy. He showed, he did his thing last year, but with no Kittle and no tackle, I don't know about that. Going into Pittsburgh, and the funny thing is, I think it's more Bosa. I mean, Kittle, yeah, but I think Bosa is like Chris Jones, man. That's your sack man. I think, and it's nice to see these two teams play because you rarely see San Francisco and Pittsburgh play each other.
Sure.
Two franchises been around forever, have won and everything else. But anyway, going into Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin, team's young, but he can get them up. TJ Watt on one side. They're going after Purdy, man.
They're going to attack that
Pittsburgh
elbow.
20. Yeah. They're going after him. Pittsburgh 27. I mean, I think CMC is going to get his because he gets his. Debo is going to do his thing. Ayuk is going to free up both of them so either one can do it. I mean, whatever. I come a 3-headed backfield because Debo can play in the backfield too. I think Pittsburgh 27, Frisco 21.
It's going to be close. Yeah,
close. I think Frisco will be playing catch up.
Another thing to remember about Pittsburgh, they're historically known for not having blow up games week one. They rely heavily on defense week one to allow their offense to continue to grow that chemistry early on in the season. They don't show their true offensive nature, at least under Mike Tomlin, until week 3-4. That's when they usually get going offensively. It's usually their defense that sets the tone early, and offensively follow suit. I
think Pickett's going to make a huge jump from last year. And I say a big jump because he doesn't. Yeah, because he doesn't have anyone in his back anymore like last year. This year he's the quarterback, and he can just settle. It's like I feel like Daniel Jones. He can actually settle in like, hey, this is my team. Let's roll. So
this game actually concerns me a little more for another quarterback that started off dinged up, Cincinnati at Cleveland. Deshaun Watson finally starting a season. He did come back last year, but he didn't start the season. Bengals trying to get back to the Super Bowl. They were very close last year. Zappy has said on previous shows, I actually do agree with him, and I've heard it in other platforms too, that the Browns are kind of like the great unknown because they do potentially have a championship caliber defense. I don't envy Cincinnati going into Cleveland. And if you follow the history of this rivalry, the Cleveland Browns in recent time have really had the Bengals number for quite part of it. And mind you, this was without the services of a Deshaun Watson. When I look at Cleveland's defense, they're loaded with talent. Personally, I think they have a better defense than the Bengals right now. I do not think Joe Burrow is necessarily 100%, but of course he's going to play. And I still am not necessarily confident with the Cincinnati offensive line. No Kareem Hunt. That will hurt the Browns to a level, but I do believe that a beneficiary in this offense could actually be a guy like a Donovan Peoples-Jones if Cincinnati truly hones in on Amari Cooper. I also think David Njoku is going to continue to get better and be a mismatch problem for many a defense. I've got the Browns by 10 here. I'm going Browns 30, Bengals 20, and Joe Burrow is not a good starter in terms of week 1, week 2. He usually hits his stride as October starts rolling around. He did it last year. He's had a habit of doing that. Yeah, I like the Cleveland Browns to start off this season 1-0, 30-20 victory over the Bengals. And I think you're going to see a couple of Burrow missteps where there's a couple of picks thrown. And I think the difference in the game is that Cleveland is not going to make the same mistakes throwing the ball or taking bigger chances that could burn them as the Bengals will. And I think they're going to win the turnover battle as well as the battle of the front line. I think they're going to lead the game in sacks considerably. You know, that's how I'm looking at this thing.
I'm surprised Kareem Hunt's not on the roster yet. I figured
I am
someone.
too. I am too.
I'm surprised.
I'm not.
I am. I mean, not as a starter, but just even as a, backup.
He brings a skill set that helps, but it's a pricing thing too in my eyes.
His asking price never came down.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, not him, not money. I mean, him as a player. I'm surprised he's not on the roster. Yeah, his asking price is. I mean, come on, dude. You're not that. You're good, but you're not CMC. You know.
Yeah. With the running back market, it's tough, especially when you're not necessarily an every down guy.
Right. You've been backing up Nick Chubb, so I mean, you got to bring down your price. Anyway, this is hard for me to really judge because I'm not a Deshaun Watson fan. Not so much because of what he did, because I mean, I can't say that either. I wanted to support the guy, but it was just too much. I think some of the women were BSing, but I think he BS'd a lot also. And character-wise, it's hard for me to root for him. It really is. That being said, I think they got the better team, defense, even on the offense. Nick Chubb, Mari Cooper, Peoples-Jones. I mean, they have the better team. You're playing in Cleveland. Cleveland always plays Cincinnati at least one good game a year. They play him and they beat him, no matter what's going on. Joe Burrow, I don't think he's fully healthy. I don't. They lost P. Ryan, back up Mixon. I'm going with Cleveland reluctantly. I don't want to be, I don't want to give a hater pick. But I'm saying 28-17, Cleveland. They go 1-0.
All right.
That's it.
It looks like Burrow will play. He still is questionable. I asked this question to Mr. Zach Taylor. Is it really worth playing him week 1 when it's a 17-game season? I understand it's a division game, but here's how I look at it with Cleveland. The X factor for the Cleveland Browns is not a player. It's Jim Schwartz. The hiring of Jim Schwartz to be their defensive coordinator is a great move. And
yes,
this is the type of game just Jim Schwartz he craves when he knows you're hurt. I mean, come on, guys. We're talking about Jim Schwartz. What is we're talking about a guy that's similar to a Greg Williams that he's going to
say that.
Going after.
Say that.
And then throw in the fact that while under Joe Burrow as starting quarterback, the Bengals have won one game on opening day, and that goes back to 2021, I believe it is, when they beat the Vikings in overtime. So they haven't necessarily beat anybody because, like you said, Richie, which is just a true fact, Burrow, it takes them a few weeks to get going. But when you're throwing in that calf situation on top of it, on the leg that he pushes off to get the ball to go further, to me, that's a recipe for disaster. I'm taking Cleveland to win this game. I think defensively they're going to come motivated. I think the dog pound is going to be roaring.
Yes.
And again, I told you guys before that I think Cincinnati's first 2 games of the year are going to be the hardest ones, and that could be the difference between them going 10-7 and 12-5. I have them going 10-7. I think you guys see what I'm talking about with weeks 1 and 2 against Cleveland and Baltimore. 2 teams that can get after the quarterback, 2 teams that are going to be hungry because the Bengals have that target on their back. And not only that, you have 2 wide receivers that are looking to get paid. How is Burrow going to distribute the ball evenly? I'm looking for Cincinnati to go into Cleveland and not be able to overcome the hostile environment. Cleveland comes out on top. I'll go with a score of similar score, 27-17 type of thing, 10-point game.
The hiring of Jim Schwartz, man. Yeah,
that's a very, very that's a move that's not getting talked about enough. But like the Dolphins with Vic Fangio, that's what I see Jim Schwartz as a guy that's going to bring it, and he's going to have these guys going after him.
he's Greg Williams without the, I'm the shit.
He hasn't got caught yet.
Yeah, just he got caught right. Exactly.
All right, we're gonna move it along to New Orleans, old stomping grounds of that guy that you just mentioned. 20-minute mark, boys. Just want to let you know. Going to pick up the pace a little here. This is not that difficult for me to see here. Two good defenses, but one team is missing more than the other. No Kamara for New Orleans. They're a little more dinged up. And honestly, I don't even feel all that great about their O-line. I think Carr could get hit early and often here. And I think that Derrick Henry coming back, I think DeAndre Hopkins' first game for this organization, I see Tennessee by at least a score here. I'm going to go 23-17. Tennessee on the road, getting a quality road dub and starting off the DeAndre Hopkins era with this team rather well. I think DeAndre Hopkins and Derrick Henry as a combination will make life a lot easier for Ryan Tannehill. And honestly, Treylon Burks, this is his time to start getting better, and I think you're going to see it. I think it's going to happen.
My thing will be 10 seconds. 27-17, Tennessee. Henry gets up 160 yards. Fast track. That's it.
Yeah, it's the X factor to me is going to be DeAndre, and now it's going to give Tennessee the ability to finish off drives. DeAndre gets a touchdown in this game. 7 receptions. We'll go 78 yards, something along the lines of that. Derrick Henry gets his 125 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. Tennessee comes out on top. I'll go with a very similar score. We'll go 20-10, a little lower scoring, but it'll be the DeAndre Derrick Henry show. It'll be enough to win.
Yeah.
Oldest rivalry in the NFL getting restored here. We got the Green Bay Packers traveling to Chicago. Jordan Love era starting in Green Bay. And for the Bears, they're getting their franchise, man. Very evenly matched on paper for different reasons. I think Green Bay actually does have a better defense than Chicago. Usually the defense is Chicago's calling card. Chicago has the better offense right now. I like Green Bay for a small margin victory. I'm going to go Green Bay 27, Chicago 23. I think Jordan Love gets his first comeback victory of his career. I like it. Green Bay for the win on the road to start off the Jordan Love era.
Well, Green Bay's daddy moved to New York. But and I think because of that, Chicago's daddy moved to New York. So I think the kids are going to have fun against Green Bay. I'm going Chicago 27-21.
Justin Fields, they were already one of the top rushing offenses last year. Justin Fields has some new toys to play with in the receiver room. No Aaron Rodgers, insert Jordan Love, but the Packers still have a very good defense coming into Chicago. I have Chicago as the second place finisher in the North. I don't think Chicago.
Spit it out, Zappy. Spit it out.
Chicago wins this game, 24-23.
Got off on a cliffhanger.
Hey, Chicago wins with a final field goal.
I thought you were going to say Green Bay because you're like, what up?
No.
Miami traveling. Miami traveling to LA. The Chargers season ended abruptly in Jacksonville. The Kellen Moore era is in. I think we're all very critical on the future of Brandon Staley. I said yesterday that if they don't get it done, meaning get to a title game, especially with the record I'm giving them, then they're going to go in a different direction as head coach. This might be the most entertaining game of the week because you have two offenses that are going to be running up and down the field. And with Jalen Ramsey not suiting up, I think Miami's defense is susceptible to give up the big play. But I do think that both these teams are going to put up some nice numbers. The difference in this one, I think Tua Tagovailoa makes a couple of mistakes that Justin Herbert doesn't. I think going into this game, Los Angeles has a stronger unit on defense. Still going to score a lot of points. I got the LA Chargers winning this thing. I'm going to go 37-33.
Chargers 37-21.
This Chargers team hosted Miami last year, won 23-17 without the likes of Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, missing receivers on the front side of things, offensive side, should I say. Vic Fangio is going to have this defense prepared. This game will come down to Tua Tagovailoa. This game, if Mike McDaniel has the game plan where he passes the ball 40 times, Miami loses this game, and they lose it pretty outright.
And I think that's exactly what's going to happen too.
Yeah, me too.
If I'm McDaniel, you got to have Wilson, Mostert, and Etienne ready to run and control the game.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego wins this game 33-20. I'm sorry, San Diego. Los Angeles wins this game 33-20.
Me too.
And the Chargers show up and say, "Hey, we're here."
We'll take a breath before our final two of the week. Less notables. These are coming from me directly. I got the Commanders crushing, in my opinion, the worst team in the NFL. I'm talking like a 3-score beatdown. Jaguars and Colts is going to be a little closer than advertised. I like the Jaguars, though. Ravens and Texans, nothing to really see there. D'Amico Ryans is a good coach, but it's going to be a process. I actually think the Vikings and Bucks could be surprisingly entertaining. I like the Vikings, and I think the Seahawks will get some resistance from the Rams early, but in the end, they're just a better football team, and I think they're going to be able to get after Matthew Stafford. And then when you talk about no Cooper Kupp, it's like a continuation of the issues that the Rams had last year. So unless if anybody has a disagreement here, forever hold your peace.
I will say one thing and one thing only. Jacksonville is on upset alert.
Okay.
Yep.
So the AR-15 era starts potentially with a feel-good win. And it's a weird week because while you got a lot of old guard guys, mainly in the AFC, you also got a lot of young rookies making their first starts at the quarterback position. So, there's always, college, you can get all the film you want and do all the studying. It's different when they get in that NFL realm first game. So I would say there's a lot of things that are possible with that, and we're going to see how it plays out.
Indy plays them very well at home, even last year.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who Indy's quarterback was that game, but Indy won 34-27 at home. I think it was Minshew, actually. But that's the only reason why I have Jacksonville on upset alert. I'm picking Jacksonville to win this game, but I have them on upset alert.
I got the Colts.
All right. Sunday. All right.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football. We got the New York Football Giants hosting the Dallas Cowboys. It's been quite a streak for the Giants, consistently having issues against their rivals from Texas. This is my key matchup in this. Can the many looks thrown at second-year man Evan Neal, is he going to be able to rise to the occasion and neutralize some of what Dallas brings? I feel that the Giants, from a talent-based standpoint on offense, more than close the gap on these other two teams in the East, that being Philly, that being Dallas. Keys to victory for the New York Giants. It goes without saying that you got to win the turnover battle. But I also believe that the Giants just have to have sustained drives that end with points. I'm not saying you got to go up and down the field and put up a 6 every time, but you got to have sustained drives that lead to points. I do think that the New York Giants can use Dallas's aggressiveness against them, because when you have guys like Waller, guys like Paris Campbell, guys that can take the top off defense, guys that can stretch the field, I do think it opens up lanes for Saquon Barkley where he becomes a home run threat. They're asking for a blue out. Last year they asked for a white out. Hopefully the blue out works better than the white out. I got the New York Giants sneaking this one out, 26-24 on the foot of Graham Gano late in the game. This is the first of 2. And I think the Giants, huge confidence build here for the upset.
Same here. Everything you said, 3-point spread. Giants win.
One other thing I want to add about the Giants, they are the number 1 team in the NFL against the spread last year. Just a little tidbit for you bettors.
Daddy's home. Daddy's home, and he's going to get his 11th straight win against the New York Giants. I'll just leave with that. Daddy's home, 34-17.
Oh, damn.
Zappy,
He's going to beat the kids. Yeah.
Getting a little.
He's going to beat the kids, huh? Yeah, you're going to beat the kids.
It's
Give me your key matchup.
I hear you, though.
What is your key matchup?
I hear you, man.
Yeah. It's going to be, how is Deontay Banks going to stop CeeDee Lamb or Brandon Cooks? Because that's where Dak's going to be throwing the ball. Yeah, he's going to get a rude awakening to the NFL. Not to take away from his talent. He's a very talented young man, but it's his first game where there's actually game planning involved and things like that. I look for my X factor for the Cowboys offense, believe it or not, is actually tight end Jake Ferguson. Yeah, lopsided or not, I mean, it's the whole fact that it's 10 victories in a row by Dak Prescott over the New York Giants. That's the big one, and Dallas is coming out to make a statement, and I'm looking at Micah Parsons to have himself a big game. While Richie thinks that the Giants closed the gap, I think Dallas maintained the gap by the additions of Brandon Cooks, Stephon Gilmore, and Mozzie Smith on the defensive side of the ball. You can't find the weakness on Dallas's team right now. You just can't do it.
Let me say something. Let me take off my glasses like Stephen A. Smith and say this.
Can't find a weakness? Go ahead. Let me hear this.
Look into my eyes. You still have Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
and he owns you guys.
Yeah, but Zappy, with all due respect, owning a dysfunctional franchise at one of the all-time lows of Giants history isn't exactly something that we're going to do this for. It doesn't carry the same weight of an Eli Manning.
So were you guys a dysfunctional franchise last year? Because he owned you guys last year too.
I understand that. First year of a new regime, and you got shopping cart guys at wide receiver. Both games were one-score victories. One thing that I will say is this in closing. I think you are slightly underestimating the athleticism that the Giants now have at the linebacker position. I do believe to a level you might be underestimating that. I see a big night out of Azeez Ojulari as well as Isaiah Simmons. I do believe that Kayvon Thibodeau might be neutralized because he's going to be the main guy that you guys are really trying to keep off of Dak's ass. But speed alone, I do think that the combination of Ojulari and Simmons could have a nice night. And you talked about your tight end. I also think Simmons could be deployed on some defensive duties trying to guard the pass. I like his addition. We'll see how it plays. Coming up on the 7-minute mark. Anything else you boys want to say before we move it along to the 9/11?
We'll be live. We'll be live late after that game, whether it's a Cowboy victory or a Giants victory. We'll be live.
Oh yeah,
because that's what we do.
Recap.
As far as Simmons go, he's not even a projected starter right now for the team.
That's okay.
Like I said, I want to see how you guys are able to slow down the passing game, not so much the rushing game of Dallas. And how are you guys going to be able to slow down the pass rush? Dan Quinn has all his toys finally in place. That's what I look at here. I'm looking at Dallas's defense to be the difference, not the offense. I'm looking at
my concern is the guards, and that's no secret. But I do think Evan Neal is going to be more than prepared to match the effort of. And I love our center. You know how I feel about him. All right, we'll see how that plays. Buffalo Bills traveling to the same stadium that the other games are being played in the night after Monday Night Football on 9/11. Aaron Rodgers bringing Super Bowl aspirations to a once hopeless organization, the New York Jets, looking to win their first one in 55 years. Buffalo, some of that off-field drama, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, well documented. It was more than a headline. Damar Hamlin makes his return. That's the feel-good part of this. Some feel the Buffalo window is closing. I think everyone on this panel believes that to be true. Having said all that, I like the Jets here. I do. I think it's going to be close. I do. I think it's going to be close. And I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as others might figure. I got the Jets kind of sneaking this one out, 27-24. And coming from behind, I think they overcome a 2-score deficit late in the game to win this thing. The reason why I think the Jets are always going to be in every game is because their defense is not going to allow them not to be in every game. I think Aaron Rodgers puts his stamp on a hopeful Jet season. And as anyone who saw my preview reveal the other day knows that I'm picking the other guys in our stadium to actually represent that conference. So we'll see how it goes. I like the Jets for the opening day win.
28-24 Jets. I don't think they'll be playing from behind. I think Buffalo's window was closed. The conference has gotten better. 28-24 Jets.
I mean,
go to the Super Bowl.
You will be catching Dak's balls as he's teabagging that entire Giants defense. You're absolutely right.
Zappy,
I didn't get back on that game.
Zappy, I do want to mention one thing. What does Idris call him?
28-24.
Still no Dak.
Listen, I'm not exactly staring, but I'm just going to say, in my recollection, they don't have any huevos on those things. I know Zeke Elliott and Dak Prescott would probably know a little better than I do. Let's just keep it moving. Jesus Christ.
Look, the Jets last year at home beat Buffalo 20-7.
The game just comes back like we didn't get enough.
Out of the blue.
Hey, you posted what your mom
Typical
said.
Cowboys fan, bring up old shit.
No. Richie brought it up by posting it. Richie brought it up. So I had to respond to it. Okay? You're going to put that. I'm going to give you a response.
I was worried about not having enough time, and now it seems like the last 10 minutes have turned into an eternity now. Back to the Bills and Jets.
The Jets beat the Bills last year at home 20-17 with Zach Wilson. They lost a couple weeks later at Buffalo 20-12 with Zach Wilson. Let's go and with that offense they had. Let's go ahead and put Breece Hall is back. Dalvin Cook is there. You now have Garrett Wilson in his second year. You brought in all this talent from the Packers to include four-time MVP Aaron Rodgers. That defense is going to be even better. And the OC.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Nathaniel Hackett.
I can't wait till that game against Denver.
Oh man.
But here's the big one. Here's the big one. It's 9-11. It's 9-11.
Yeah,
I got the Jets winning this game. A close one. But yeah, I firmly believe the Bills take a step back.
I'm gonna take it a step further, bud. That's the reason why I got both these teams in MetLife winning this week. I wholeheartedly believe that Yankees take care of it. The Yankees actually look like a functional baseball team right now. I just wish I would have saw that for
don't we?
The previous 90 days. But next year looks good for them. All right, week 1 is upon us, guys. Gonna be a great, fun season. These are some great matchups. To my fantasy heads out there, I just want to give a very unbiased, honest piece of advice. For the beginning of the season, even if you drafted a quality defense or 2 quality defenses, which I did in one particular league, I'm going to try something this year. I am literally picking up every defense that the Arizona Cardinals play. Hey, not everybody's in our league.
No, I know, but I got guys in my other leagues that are watching, and I'm in the process of doing that right now.
Zappy, you better, for real. And the Giants, by the way, do play the Arizona Cardinals in week 2, which, in my opinion, for the second straight year, should propel us to 2-0 after our triumphant victory over Jerry's boys. I can't wait. And yes, we will go live after that game. And Zappy will not be able to avoid that because last year, after the whiteout game, I had to go live, and it's payback time.
Right.
It's payback time.
Cowboy fans, I got memes waiting too.
It's payback time.
I've got receipts. I've got all the receipts in the world, and I will bring them to the table.
The Trey Lance era, it takes one step closer after a giant meltdown. For Mr. Zappy, for Mr. Idris Salam, I am your host, Richie. I hope you got at minimum a little entertainment out of our banter. In all seriousness, great challenge for the New York Football Giants in that game. Great challenge for the New York Jets as well, because regardless of the new excitement, the reality is that these other teams have been good for a while for a reason. It's called consistency. But I most definitely am looking forward to the challenge because I feel that no matter what the outcome is, whenever you're playing against a team that has a legitimate advantage against you over time, there's nowhere to go but up. And I think it's a good measuring stick for where the Giants stand. And, like them or not, I will give the Dallas Cowboys credit. What Dan Quinn has done with that defense is nothing short of excellent. Very
Great,
much so
yeah.
a Super Bowl contender this year. When's the last time you heard me say that about the Cowboys? Like I said, I keep it unbiased around here. For the crew, I am Richie, and I enjoyed bringing this show to you. Have a great rest of your day. Please like and subscribe. Rich Hicks Jr. Sports Pod on YouTube.